No, but that looked ridiculous. It says this meeting's being live streamed. Do I need to click OK? Is that something he's doing on his end? See? So
Hold up. Tonight's racing show is sponsored by River Valley, or RiverviewFamily.com auto sales. Go hit them up for all your auto sales needs. Tonight on the Josh Nolan Full Throttle Racing Show, #1 on YouTube, we have Jason and Parker Vandekamp. Welcome to the show, guys.
hi, thanks for having us.
Hi.
So how did you guys get started in racing?
I started with my grandparents taking me to the races pretty much every weekend when I was a little kid, and went and watched, and then finally decided one day I was going to buy my own car.
I grew up around watching him race and just got into it.
Okay. So what was it like for you guys to race for the first time?
You go first.
It was pretty cool. I thought it was really fun to go drive around, even if I didn't race anybody, or I thought it was pretty cool.
I remember my first race still pretty vividly. I was in a street stock, and we lining up for the heat race. You got no practice back then. It was just draw and line up, and people are bumping into the back of you and the side of you. And I think I would have paid anything to get out of there at that time. It was pretty scary, actually.
Okay. How much success have you guys had as race car drivers?
I feel like I've this upcoming year will be 25 years for me, and I feel like I've had a fair amount of success. Won a lot of races, won a lot of big races. Just for a small family team, I think we've done pretty well. Parker, this was his first full year of racing, and he won six races this year in quarter midgets. So I think he started off pretty well.
Okay, so when you guys win races, how do you guys celebrate your victories?
Listen to music.
It's changed over the years, I think, a lot, but I started racing going to the races with my grandparents. They took me every week and watching. And when my grandma passed away, I kind of just started, getting out of my car and standing on the door and, pointing to heaven, for her, because she was the biggest part of my racing career. I think my biggest fan, my biggest supporter. And I don't know, you still get butterflies every time. You still get excited every time. So I don't know. That's what I do, I guess.
Okay. How about you, Parker?
We listen to music on the way home from the track and celebrate, talk about what went well in the race. Yeah.
So what's an awesome day at the racetrack look like for you guys?
Not wrecking stuff.
Yeah, the simple thing is drive it back in the trailer, but it's friends and family. Like we have a lot of people that support us and come to the track, and just sharing the success with them. It's over the years it's changed. In the beginning it was, you were so excited to finally get to win and have a good day, and we've went through the things of, if you don't win, or you're not in the top, second sometimes doesn't feel good enough. You're disappointed because you didn't win, and so that's, I think my wife does a good job of keeping me in check over that. It's, there's 24 or 23 other people out there that would love to trade places with you. So you try to remember that and remember why you're doing it, and to have fun. And, so at the end of the night, when you didn't wreck your car and you're safe and everybody's there to just hang out afterward. That's kind of what it's become about.
How about you, Parker?
Um, Going out, just having fun, talking to the people I like racing with, not
Okay, go ahead.
doing well.
All right. What's an awesome day at the race shop look like for you guys?
Not much work to do. um, you know, that's you spend way more time in the garage working on your stuff than you do at the racetrack racing. So, um, when you can do preventative stuff and get yourself ahead, and you're not just coming home to thrash to get it done and ready to go again the next day or the next week, or having to change a motor or something like that. It's, those are the better days. You can focus on the little things and try to find things that might be wrong with your car that you haven't had time to go through and figure out. And then you go to the track and you have some success that night, and it's rewarding for the time that you spent, working on it.
Out of all the races you guys have won, what has to be your most favorite victory?
Canada.
Um, well, there's a couple that come to mind. My first invitational win was the Fall Classic in Alexandria. It was the first time I won one of those big fake cardboard checks in a race that paid more than probably $300 to win. So, that was pretty important to me. But then to win that $10,000 to win race in Canada, against that many people, was pretty cool. And then last year to win that XR 10,000 to win race in Ashland, at the 444 Memorial race, that was, that sometimes that still hasn't even set in that happened. So.
How about you, Parker?
My favorite race is probably that my first light 160 race I won, when I was extremely nervous to go race with all the people that have been racing all season. And I went out in that class, started on the pole and won, and then got in the next car and went out and won in that car too. Thought that was pretty cool.
Oh, okay. So what is the story behind your guys' racing numbers? Where did those come from?
Um, 16 was always, it's my birthday's on the 16th of the month. So that kind of started it. And, way back in, grade school with playing baseball and all the other sports, I was always number 16. And, so that just stuck with me. And that's kind of how I, got my number. My dad was actually number 26. I guess I just went with 16 because was my high school sports numbers and stuff like that. So that's where I went with mine. And
Mine was probably when I was first started hockey, the number they gave me was 14. And when they asked for numbers the next year, all I wanted was 14, but that number had already been taken. So they just gave me 26. And I guess I just stuck with that.
Okay. Who's your guys' racing heroes?
Jonathan Davenport.
yeah, I mean, growing up, I was a big Billy Moyer fan. Going to the racetrack and, with my grandma and grandpa and watching USA Nationals and that, I was always a big Billy Moyer fan. And even back then, locally it was Ron Jones in a modified. And then now, in the last several years, I like Jonathan Davenport. I love watching him drive, and he works hard and is successful, and he's just very humble, and I like watching him.
Okay. Who do you guys have for sponsors on your racing team?
Go ahead.
East Central Sports, FYE Motorsports, Champ Sports Bar and Grill, MJ Lorenz Concrete, A&D Trucking and Excavating, Accurate Automotive or Auto Repair, Van Spray Foam Services, and Fireweed and Thistle Keepsakes.
I've had a lot of sponsors, and a lot of them I've had throughout my racing career. So, been very fortunate. But FYE Motorsports, Champ Sports Bar and Grill, East Central Sports, North Branch Synthetics, Ignite Race Fuels, Winix Supply. Winix has been my longest standing sponsor. He's been with me since my first year of racing. Dave Kane Racing, Penske Race Shocks, CNS Automotive. Chris has been building my motors for 23 of my 25 or 24 of my 25 years now. So it's pretty cool. Kane Design and Wraps, Sweet Saunas, Northern Kitchen and Bath, Speedworks Headers, Innovative Foam Solutions, and Van Spray Foam.
Okay, are you guys still looking for sponsors for your racing team?
I mean, I think you're always looking for sponsors. You know, you can always make room on the car, and you know, it's nice to have some new people. You know, I mean, in the last couple of years, I've gotten, you know, Ignite Race Fuels and North Branch Synthetics, and it's cool to bring different people to the track and let them see what you're doing and see how excited they get to be part of that. So yeah, you know, Parker's first year this year, and he's gotten a few of the same of my sponsors that have helped out, but you know, he's got a lot of his own, and it's really cool to see. So yeah, I mean, we're always looking for some.
How does one get a hold of you guys to sponsor you guys?
Yeah, I guess, you know, my Facebook stuff, or, you know, Vandy Racing is it's become a shared platform now for our racing stuff. You know, our phone numbers are on there, and, you know, our emails and all that kind of stuff. You know, so Facebook is pretty easy. I mean, Van Spray Foam is our business, and you know, we have a website and a Facebook, and, you know, my cell phone number's listed on there. So
Well, if there's anybody out there that would like to sponsor these guys or get to know these guys, reach out to them on their Facebook platforms to get to know them better and sponsor them.
yeah, for
Okay.
sure.
What is your guys' home racetracks?
Cedar Lake Speedway. I mean, I've been going there since I was, you know, fell asleep at night and got carried out of there. So, I mean, 3-4 years old.
How about you, Parker?
Cedar Lake Speedway. I've grown up racing there or going to the races with him, and then I guess that's where my quarter midget association's located.
All right. What is your favorite racetrack you've ever raced on?
I mean, my favorite is just Cedar Lake Speedway. It's my home track. I've had the most success there, but it's I don't know. I don't know that I mean, I like Princeton. I like the small little bull ring style track. You know, Ogilvy's a phenomenal facility, top notch. It's fun to race there. I mean, we've traveled and been to Humboldt and to Oklahoma and, you know, Arizona, and we've raced all over it. But yeah, I mean, if I had to pick one, Cedar Lake's by far been my favorite track, is my favorite track.
How about you?
Before I share that, I want another sponsor I forgot to say is StarTax Accounting Services. They also sponsor me. But I think my favorite track is the Shorey Shootout in Illinois. I went there for my first time this year, and I really like that track.
All right. So are you guys pretty good about reading the racetrack?
Well, I mean, I'm trying to teach him that. I feel like I've gotten a pretty good handle on it over the years. You know, especially when you go to the same tracks, you tend to figure out the characteristics of it. But I've always had a lot of success my first time at a track. So I feel like I have a pretty good read on it. But, you know, teaching him that, and, you know, we'll stand there and watch other races and try to teach him what the line is and what the different colors of the dirt mean, and, you know, what happens when you get off of that, and, you know, what that can do. It's really, I don't know, it's changed our season this year a lot with him racing, and you know, having to split our time and split our focus a little bit.
Okay. Do you guys like a wet track, a dry, dusty track, or right in the center?
I mean, I guess it depends on the show, you know. I mean, everybody seems to be fast on a hammer down tacky track. And if you're starting in front, yeah, that's great. But I used to really like the dry slick track because it took a lot of people out of the equation that can, that are throttle mashers and things like that. This last year or two, I feel like I've struggled a little bit more on that. So, finding a line with a little bit of traction has been more beneficial to my car. So I've wanted that more recently, but I guess ultimately, if we can get the car working on the dry stuff, I'd rather just have that because it really thins down the field, I feel like.
How about you, Parker?
I think I like a dry track more because for my quarter midgets, you can't really come off the bottom. So when people do come off the bottom, it adds character to the track. You spin out more, it moves people around. So if you're starting in the back, people spin out, then you can move to the front easier, or you can spin out and have a bad race. But I like a dry track. You can move around a lot easier.
All right. So, you guys have racing nicknames.
Vandy's been my nickname since, middle school sports, and it's just kind of stuck with me. Parker's, we've given him some, but I guess his racing nickname has been Little Vandy. That's kind of what he's went with this year, but I'm sure that'll possibly change in time.
All right. So, okay. Is there any big racing events you're looking forward to racing in yet?
Like I said earlier, I liked the Shorey Shootout in Illinois. I'm looking forward to hoping to go there next year. I really liked that track, and I got a lot better in the feature at the end. And I wish I could have drove like that in the heat races.
I the invitational season's fun because everybody travels and it's usually the best of the best people, and if you can win some of those, that's quite an accomplishment. But I don't know, we didn't get to go this year because of kids' birthdays and a few other things, but we really enjoy going up to Canada for their June invitational special that they have. I don't know, the atmosphere is cool, and the people, and they're so welcoming and friendly, and so we look forward to doing that. We've already kind of talked about it for next year. Hopefully our family schedule allows us to do that.
Okay. What do you guys like to do for fun outside the racetrack?
Okay.
Parker and his twin brother, they play hockey. So my wife and I, this is a rare night off for us from hockey. But we're at hockey 5 or 6 days a week, sometimes 7, all winter. And he races now in the summer and doesn't play summer hockey, but his brother still plays summer hockey. So if we're not racing, we're at hockey. I like my lawn mowing time. I like to mow the lawn. I do that quite frequently just because I like doing it. But I don't know. We try to do a family trip a year somewhere so we can do something outside of racing. But a lot of our vacations, a lot of our stuff somehow involve racing, whether we're going to watch or going to a NASCAR race, or taking my car and going racing somewhere. I guess we're quite a racing family, so that's what we do.
Okay. When you guys are strapped in your race car, getting ready to go on the racetrack, what else gets you psyched up and motivated to go out and do this?
Just seeing all the people there, seeing all your friends and sponsors and family that go to support you.
I'm a very competitive person, and so it's I'm seeing where I start and methodically how can I get to the front, or if I'm starting towards the front, how can I stay in the front, who's starting where, that kind of, I mean, it all plays out in your mind when you're in staging, when you're getting ready to go out. But when the green flag waves, a lot of times everything you thought of just goes away, and you just have to react, and see what kind of car you have for what the track situation is. And I don't know, I just, the drive to win. I'm a competitive person. I want to win, and so does everyone else out there, obviously. But that's where the reward comes.
So Jason, you race IMCA, right?
Now with soda.
With soda. Okay, with soda. Okay. So okay. Um, the reason why I asked if you watched IMCA, because if you guys get the chance, if you guys ever do IMCA, come down to Spencer, Iowa. They have, it's called the Midwest Madness Tour race down there that they have. It's quite interesting to go down and watch that race that.
Yeah, no, I've just, if with the tracks we have close to us, Lesoto's just always kind of been the thing. IMCA was in Princeton for 10 years, and they went back last year to Wissota. And so we were back to Princeton now. But, I just, having the car, having the engines, having all the stuff, it's just, it financially just kind of makes sense to stick with this plan.
Okay. All righty. So what are you guys' future goals as race car drivers?
Just see how many wins you can get, I guess. I've had a lot of success at Cedar Lake, so I'd like to race there, keep winning there. I'm currently going back and forth kind of head to head with Pat Dorr on career feature wins at Cedar Lake Speedway. So, it's kind of cool to think about that, and being in the same thought or conversation with somebody that you look up to like that. Ultimately would, and I don't remember how many, but I'm so many races back, or I think 20 wins away from catching, Rick Eggersdorf and Tom Nesbitt at Cedar Lake for wins. So that's, when I started off, that wasn't anything I ever thought would ever be a conversation. But, going there as a little kid, watching those guys, and now to think, all the success that they've had there, and to think that I've had that kind of success. I mean, I in my mind, that's kind of a goal. But, we've also kind of, there's not a lot of time left for me, probably. And because Parker wants to start racing, and logistically, we ain't going to both be able to do it that much, every week. So somebody's going to have to sacrifice. But yeah, I don't know.
What's your future goals, Parker?
I'd like to win my national points for my quarter midget racing because I want a Hoosier jacket. But I've also wanted to just get a bigger car and do what he does, where I go and have the success that he has, and have him teach me what the big stuff about racing is, teach me what it's like to drive a big car and go win.
So who's all on your guys' racing crews?
Well, after 25 years of racing, it's changed over the years. Currently, Parker's probably my biggest help and biggest pit crew. And, I think my wife told him a few years back that you're going to be a pit crew before a driver in this house. So he kind of took that seriously and really started helping. And, this end of last year and this year, he was rewarded with, getting a couple quarter midgets and getting to start driving himself. But, my wife helps, whether it's at home, at the track, running, just, she does the social media stuff between her and Chris, and just everything that they have to do to sacrifice so that we can go racing. And, she comes to the track more than she doesn't. So that's helpful. And, my other son, Gavin, comes at times. He's just not as into it. Years ago, it was my friend Greg Sheffer and his daughter Ellie. They came every week and they helped me and they pit. That was kind of before Parker was old enough, or, even before he was even born. And my best friend Jason, I used to work on my car at his house, and he used to pull it every week to the trailer and in to the track, and he still comes and supervises, as he would say. But Chris Hansen, Ron, my mom, my dad. I mean, there's my brother. Mac comes every week from East Central Sports. He's a huge help in the last several years. It just, when you're there and you're doing it 45, 55, 60 nights a year, you don't get the same people every week, and some people can't just give up their everyday lives to do that week in and week out. So you take what you can get, but right now I can count on Parker being with me and going, and we just kind of go do our thing.
Oh, do you guys have any crazy racing stories you'd like to share with us?
Oh boy. I mean, first thing that comes to mind this year was, watching Parker in his second or third night out in his 160 car that we got him partway through the year. He had won and he was running second, and they were coming to the checkered flag, and he just had to make the corner, and he got a little high, and he decided he wasn't going to lose second place. He stayed in the throttle and up into the marbles and into the wall, and he crossed the start finish line on his roof. So that was a couple of weeks in, and he already had a rollover. So I had to go a lot of years before I did that, but that was fun. And we got it kind of on video, and it made for still fun to think about and talk about. But I don't.
Did you get banged up at all, Parker?
Well, I hurt my wheel snapped into my thumb, which didn't hurt that bad, but it scraped my rub bar on my frame, but that's just about it.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean, I haven't had anything that's we've had part failures and, raced a whole race and still had a wrench on the J-bar bolt when we got back, which was kind of crazy to think. We put it up on the lift and the wrench was still on there for making an adjustment. How that didn't fall off was beyond me after an 8 or 10 lap heat race. But I don't know. I mean, it's been pretty even keel, I think. I don't have any real crazy things I can think of, but I mean, yeah. I mean, we went to Arizona and raced the Wild West Shootout a few times. And the first time I was there, I had great success. It started bad by not realizing what time the driver's meeting was. It was at like noon or 1 o'clock, and the pit gate didn't even open till like 3. So we missed the driver's meeting, had to start and back, got no passing points, and still came up to second in that race. And then I think the next night we were leading the feature, and we were a half a lap ahead. And of course, I didn't hear this until after the fact, but the announcers he could coast to the finish from here. And I came off at turn 4 and coming to the white flag, and the drive shaft broke. And I literally coasted to turn 4, middle of turn 3 and 4 before I got past the whole next lap. And I still finished the race, I think like 5th or something. But every year we watch the Wild West Shootout or go back now, they bring that up. And so we just kind of wait to see when it's going to come up and laugh about it. But I mean, those are memories and fun, and they weren't fun at the time. It was a win that we got away, but what do you do?
Winning the 100 and going to Canada to go.
Yeah, I mean, we've done some things. I mean, I used to deliver a Sunday paper to make money before I was, married and just struggling to make ends meet. And we would drive to Grand Forks and Devil's Lake and go race, and then, drive all the way home, get home at 2, 3, 4 in the morning. And I had to go deliver the Sunday paper. And, one year, I think it was, I don't remember, it's the first year I won the 100 at Cedar Lake, but we literally drove the car straight in the trailer and headed to Canada because we went to race up there for their race the next day. And it was $5,000 to win or something like that at that time. So, I mean, we've had some spontaneous things we've done, but as we've gotten older, it's a little more planned out now. No more tenting, it's hotels now. So.
Okay.
Go ahead.
So I have a story about from this year. I was changing a spring in the rear for a race. He wanted to make a change, and we were at Ogilvy, and I changed the spring and put the bolts in, and put the nuts on them. But the tire and the car went back to drive. Like the tire went back on and got tightened on without tightening the bolts on the left rear shock. So he got back, and uh I went to take the tire off, and I noticed that there was a missing bolt on the screw, or there was a missing nut on the bolt in the rear end. And I think it's because the pressure, but I don't know how it didn't fall out.
Wow, that's pretty crazy. So what types of racing do you guys like to watch on TV?
Well, we were, up until we logged on here, we were watching the race at the Dome, on Flow tonight. And so we watched that. And I don't know why, but I still like to watch NASCAR on Sundays. I try to watch that and not fall asleep if I can. But so I still enjoy watching NASCAR. And I don't know. Just, I mean, we have the subscription, so we watch. If we aren't racing, we'll watch, World of Outlaw sprints or high limit sprints, or we'll watch the World of Outlaw late models or something like that. I mean, I'm a modified guy. I like modified, so I like to watch USMTS and Rodney Sanders
Okay.
and those guys.
Oh yeah. Okay. All right. So who's your favorite NASCAR driver, Jason?
Kevin Harvick was my favorite driver. He retired now. I don't. I mean, I liked Dale Jr. obviously when he raced, and I was a big Dale Earnhardt fan growing up. But yeah, Kevin Harvick, and I don't know that I have a standout, somebody who's replaced him yet at this point in time. I don't know.
Okay. So at this portion of the show, guys, I like to turn the mic over to my guest. If you guys have a couple of questions you'd like to ask me, you can ask me a couple of questions.
Who's somebody you've had on your show that you maybe didn't expect you were going to have on?
Ernie Irvan, that was pretty huge.
Wow, that's cool.
Yeah.
How'd you make that happen?
Just me and his wife had mutual friends through Facebook, and I sent her a message, and she's like, sure. She's like, here's his number. So I'm like, okay. So I called him up, and I was like, what do I say?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, that'd be fun.
Oh yeah. We talked about when he drove the 28 car and the 4 Kodak Films car, and the MB2 days when he drove the 36 M&M's car and stuff like that.
Sure.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Talked about his 91 Daytona 500 win, and oh yeah. Yep.
Yeah, that's when you asked about races I want to get to, that's I was more thinking for myself, but my own racing, but that's definitely still a bucket list thing of mine. I want to get to Daytona. I haven't been there yet. I've been to a lot of NASCAR tracks, but I haven't been to Daytona. And we tried to make it happen last year in correlation with the cruise we went on as a family, but it just the timing of it didn't work out. We were going to try to do the cruise and then go to Daytona all on the same trip, and it just didn't work out. So we always say next year, but we're not going again this year. So
yeah. The other one, Jason and Parker, that I didn't think I'd ever get was, do you guys ever watch IndyCar racing at all?
I like to watch the Coke 600 and the Indy 500 on the same day. I think it's a historical thing, so I try to do that.
Back when I first moved over to YouTube, I had Oliver and Sebastian Weldon. Their dad was Dan Weldon, the 2-time Indianapolis 500 champion, on my racing show, which is pretty cool to talk to them boys.
Yeah, I bet. Yeah, there's a lot of, like, I like to listen to the Dale Jr. download and some of those shows. I mean, some of the things that those guys talk about and the stories that they have, it's pretty cool to listen to.
Oh yes. Is there anybody else you guys would like to thank for helping you get this far with your racing careers?
My dad.
My mom and my dad obviously is who I would start with. My grandpa and grandma, they were, from the beginning. And then, my wife has obviously been a big supporter. I met her at the racetrack. I mean, that was important to me. And I wanted somebody that liked the hobby that I have. And it just, obviously it's turned into a racing family. My three boys, they're, they've been supportive. They've sacrificed a lot. They still do. You know, my, but yeah, I mean, all my pit people that have helped me over the years, Jason and Greg and Ellie and Chris and Ron and Mac and my brother, especially my brother still helps me quite a bit. And I mean, there's an infinite amount of people. I mean, the racing family's huge, and it just, we've met a lot of people along the way, and made some good friendships. We've made some people not happy. It just kind of goes with the territory, I guess. But
Who are some of you guys' friends at the racetrack?
I was looking at that kind of question in particular when you sent me some of the questions, and that's a tough one because it has changed so much over the years. I mean, in almost 25 years of racing, it's we had a group of people that we used to park next to every week, and you'd go and you'd hang out and you'd barbecue, and it was more about the social aspect than it was about the racing. The racing was just kind of a bonus. And then they, over the years, they kind of had been in it a lot longer than me, so they quit racing, and they're fans now, and they come and they still watch. But you're friends with people in the pits, but then they're competitors on the track, and pretty much anybody will help anybody. That's how the racing family works. In time of need. So it's I mean, yeah, I don't know. There's so many people over the years that we've become friends with, and talk to outside of the track and stuff like that. I wouldn't even want to begin to name them in fear of forgetting somebody, I guess.
How about you, Parker?
Well, one of his friends that he races speed mods with, he's got 3 kids that race quarter midgets, and I started talking to them and telling them good job after races, and I guess I just got to know them. So I've got to know them, and I like hanging out with them. And they're probably some of my favorite friends that I hang out with at the track.
So, Parker, what do your school friends think of you being a race car driver?
I don't know. Carter. Well, I have one friend that said that always wants to go, but never wants to, or never.
Never works out for him to be able to come.
Yeah.
I mean, I think my kids have grown up around it, so there's always been a race car in the garage, and it's not that big a thing to them, but they'll have their friends will come over, and I'll be out working in the garage, and some of them are just think it's cool to look at the racetrack or look at the race car and kind of look around in the garage, and my kids are like, let's just go do something else, because this is just everyday stuff to them. They see it every day and their friends don't. So that's I don't know. I mean, Jackson thinks racing's cool, and he always wants to come, and he does the arrive and drive, and Carter's come with you to a few races. I mean, you have some friends that do it, but it's with racing comes sacrificing, and it's you don't get to he gave up playing hockey this summer so that he could race. So there's friends he's not seeing, so some of your some of your school friends know it, that you do it, but they're not always going with you.
What's the best piece of advice you guys have gotten as race car drivers?
I guess the two things that come to mind for me was my mom told me when I was younger and first started racing that if you want to be the best, you have to beat the best. You go to the track and somebody's better than you, to be the best, you have to beat the best. So, that one kind of stands out in my mind. And then back when I raced, with Dan Gullickson, and he said with success, you need to remember that nobody likes a winner. So when you start winning races, people are going to start not liking you as much. So which is, unfortunately, that's very true. It's, I never thought that'd be the case, but it with success comes, some people change.
How about you, Parker?
Pete tells me you gotta drive it in harder. And then just yeah, like what he said, you have to beat the best if you want to be the best. And like you just wanna you missed a bunch of the like you missed 100% of the shots you never take. If you don't take the shot, you're never
Okay.
gonna make it.
All right. So what kind of advice would you guys give a new race car driver?
Well, what do I tell you?
Go faster. You're not always gonna win races.
Okay.
I think one of the most important things that people have to understand is, they see the race on the weekend or the night that you're racing at the track, but what most people don't see is the work you put in outside the track and at home and in the shop. And races are won in the shop. You see the 25 laps or the 20 lap feature at the track, but you don't see the 3 or 4 or 5 or 6 days a week that you work on it for hours at a time in the garage, and the amount of time that you put in. And so people think it's easy, that you can just show up on race day and race, and this is going to be fun. And you don't understand that, bumping an infield tire or making a little contact with somebody in the track, that things bend. And if you don't go through your car and find that stuff and nut bolt everything, it's going to come back to bite you. So, and that's, I guess it comes back to what, we told Parker from the beginning was, to be a driver in this house, you got to be a crew member first, and, put the time in, and because that's where it's important. That's where your success is going to come from. So, yeah, I mean, I think that's what you have to. I mean, it's expensive. I mean, you can't, it's expensive, and you're not going to have success right away. I mean, I raced several years before I won my first race, and you race 50 times a year and you win 10. I mean, that's still doing pretty good. So you have to put in the time, and you're going to have the ups and you're going to have the downs and you're going to have slumps. And even the best people out there. I mean, Jonathan Davenport won over $2 million a couple of years ago and won every race he was in practically. And, now he's, now Bobby Pierce is doing that, and Jonathan Davenport's trying to catch back up. So it ebbs and flows, and you just have to, you can't give up even though you want to. And you just gotta keep grinding away and put in the work, and, you'll get rewarded.
All right. I would like to thank you guys for being on my racing show tonight, talking to us about your racing careers, getting to know you a little bit better. I will have you guys step out, and I will call you a bit to thank you.
Okay. Well, thanks for having us.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
Yep, not a problem. Thank you guys.
Yep.
Ladies and gentlemen, that was Jason and Parker Vandekamp on our racing show tonight, talking to us about their racing careers. Go follow them on their social media platforms if you'd like to sponsor them or get to know them better. But if you'd like to sponsor our racing show or be on our racing show, feel free to call us or text us at 712-209-738, or you can email us at jjnolan151@gmail.com. I'd like to thank RiverviewFamily.com Auto Sales for being a sponsor of our racing show. Go hit them up for all your auto sales needs. Thanks.